today's class will be accepting mass. No, maybe slightly differently. Samsara dava nalalida loka pranaya karunya gana ganatam. Samsara dava nalalida loka pranaya karunya gana ganatam. Samsara dava nalalida loka pranaya karunya gana ganatam. Praptasya kalyana gunanavasya vande guru shri charanarvindam. 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 Samsara dava nalalida loka pranaya karunya gana ganatam. Samsara dava nalalida loka pranaya karunya gana ganatam. Praptasya kalyana gunanavasya vande guru shri charanarvindam. Praptasya kalyana gunanavasya vande guru shri charanarvindam. Nama om Vishnu padaya Krishna Krishnaya bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namene Namah. देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Samsara Dava Nalalila Loka Pranaya Karunya Ganaranatha Samsara Dava Nalalila Loka Pranaya Karunya Ganaranatha Praptasya Kalyana Gunanamasya Vande Gro Shri Charanarvindam Praptasya Kalyana Gunanamasya Vande Gro Shri Charanarvindam 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 Srila Prabhupada ji, thank you very much for being along. Very grateful to you for choosing to spend your Sunday here at ISKCON Scarborough. Very grateful for all your sevas, all your services, and very grateful in advance also for your attention and your time, because once you give someone your time, once you give someone your attention, it's done. You can't take it back. right? Remains in your consciousness. So start with a prayer. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance. My spiritual master opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my obeisances and the lotus feet of my spiritual master. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutabadakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Savajatam Saranathanam Sachivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Samardaita Shri Krishna Consciousness. Hare Krishna Karuna Siddho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Kanda Radha Kanda Namaste Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Jalvatobhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyacha Patitanam Bhavinobhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. I beg for your blessings that something of value can be said, especially all the Vaishnavas, all my elders especially. Thank you very much. Today's topic is accepting mercy. So, we sang this song, which we sing every Mangalarti actually, in every single ISKCON center around the world, at the start of many programs, including this one. It's called the Gurvashakam. It has 8 verses, and it praises the spiritual master for all the wonderful things that the spiritual master is doing to us. So specifically this verse, Samsara Dava Nara Ledha Loka. So this particular phrase means Samsara. Samsara means the complete circle. The circle that goes on and on. What's that circle? Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi Dukkha Dosham Darshanam. This circle is going on. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Jatasya Dhruvo Mrityu Dhruvo Janma Mritasya Cha, which means for a person who has accepted birth, death is inevitable. So death is born along with the birth of the baby. Death is born. Death is traveling with the baby until the baby becomes a child, grows up, gets old, gets diseased, and moves on. So death is continuous companion for all of us. We are living with death at every moment, right? So samsara, that is what it means. Davanala means blazing fire. Imagine the crazy forest fire, right? Like the ones we saw in the news in BC and Alberta recently. That happened in California, right? Recently also. Happens all over the world actually. This kind of forest fire is impossible to contain, Now, if you were to say, I were to ask you to go out there and put out this forest fire, what would you need to do? Right? You need to bring a lot of water. And that kind of water is not possible to bring with a fire engine or a fire brigade or a little pump of a kind. The only kind of real water that can put out that fire is a big, huge shower that is continuous, like the one that is falling outside, except it needs to continue for a little bit longer. Right? So, samsara davan analedha loka tranaya karunya ghana ghanatvam, which means that ghana ghanatvam, that dark, heavy cloud. If some of you are from South Asia, imagine that heavy monsoon rainfall, right? That is the kind of rain that is required to put out that fire, right? And who has that kind of rain, right? Praptasya kalyana gunarnavasya. So Radha Gopi Vallabha is standing behind this curtain. He can see us. We can't see him right now. He can see us. So he is standing behind this curtain. He has that kind of power that can put out the blazing fire of material existence. Our samsara is compared to that heavy blazing fire. Nobody started it, but it's going on, and it's bothering us. Like so much. At minimum, we have birth, death, old age, and disease. In addition to that, we have the miseries that are caused by our body, miseries that are caused by our mind. Most of the times, people are affected by the miseries that are caused by their own mind. You know, they're inside this mind, and you can see this. You can see this person. He's very troubled. She's very troubled by their own mind. Right? It's very difficult. And then, if that was not enough, we have living entities who cut you off on the street. Right? Mosquitoes who bite you, maybe bed bugs, right? Insects that when you don't want them to be. Right? Why don't you go live outside somewhere? Of course, in Canada they can't. They have to come inside. Right? They're inside your rice. They're inside everything. Right? You have spiders constructing like all of these things that drive you nuts. Right? Different living entities. We're not even talking about the snakes and the scorpions and all that. Right? Or the envious folks who wants to steal something that you have or mug you and take away your phone. Right? You have all of these living entities all over in the world. And then, if that was not enough, then you have these disasters that you cannot control. Earthquakes, famines, right? Heavy heat, scorching cold. Right? You cannot control these kinds of things. Right? Thunder, lightning. Right? You cannot control these kinds of things. They just happen. Right? At minimum, we are suffering all of these things in this material world, right? And in this material life. And the spiritual master, Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam, and all of his representatives are those souls who are taking the mercy from the one who has it. Praptasya Kalyana Gunarnavasya, Krishna, who is very fittingly, like a newly born rain cloud. He's of that color. He can give that mercy. Yes, he has that completely. Like his body, his mind, his fingers, his toenails, even just the tip of his toenail is sufficient to extinguish all possible sufferings. And the spiritual master is someone who is taking that mercy from Krishna's lotus feet and just showering it indiscriminately upon everybody. Okay, even though the spiritual master is showering this mercy just like the rain, right? Some of us might have an umbrella on and the rain doesn't touch us. Okay? So, today's class we are going to focus on accepting that mercy. How is it that we can accept that mercy? Okay? So, before we get into that, we are going to sing one more stanza of one more song together. Okay? The Vaishnava Acharya's songs are so packed with some amazing qualities inside them that you don't even have to understand the words of the song in order to feel something in the heart. Right? You just hear the song and say, what is this? What does it mean? I have to go and find out what it means. Right? It doesn't even matter, right? Whether we understand the meaning or not in the beginning. Of course, it's better to understand the meaning, and we'll describe that. So we talked about the first verse of the Gurvashtakam. Now we're going to talk about the last verse that we sing from a song that starts with Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Daya Karo More, sung by Narottam Das Thakur. We won't sing the full song because we don't have enough time for all that, but we'll sing the last stanza. Okay? It starts with Daya Karo Shri Acharya Prabhu Shri Nivasa Ramachandra Sangha Narottama Dasa. Please repeat. Daya Karo Shri Acharya Prabhu Shri Nivasa Ramachandra Sangha Narottama Prabhu are many beautiful stanzas. It starts with, he's praying to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to please shower him, please save him. And Narottam Das Thakur is singing on our behalf. He is already, a pure devotee. He doesn't really need. But these feelings are just very intense. And in the end, in the last stanza, he says, Daya Karo Shri Acharya Prabhu Srinivas. Ramachandra Sangamage Narottam Das. When you hear it for the first time, right, you might think that, maybe Srinivas Acharya is Narottam Das Thakur's spiritual master. And maybe Ramachandra is another great spiritual master. But actually this is not a fact. Srinivas Acharya is a close personal friend of Narottam Das Thakur. They are friends, they are buddies, they are very close friends, and they do Krishna Katha together. They sit down and they do Krishna Katha together. They are very close friends. And Ramachandra that is being referred to is a person named Ramachandra Kaviraj. We spoke about him in the morning. I was thinking about him. Right? And he's actually a disciple of Srinivas Acharya. So now you can think, let's say you have your spiritual master, and your spiritual master has his god brother, and that god brother is praying for your association. Huh? What? What kind of person is this that your spiritual master's god brother is praying for your association? Right? What kind of person is this? So this is a person who has really accepted Krishna's mercy. This is like one of the topmost examples of someone who has accepted Krishna's mercy. I'll tell you the story. Okay? So one day, Ramachandra Kaviraj was sitting in his home, and the two wives of his spiritual master, his spiritual master Srinivas Acharya had two wives. They came running to Ramachandra Kaviraj and said, you have to come immediately, something has happened to your Guru Maharaj. Okay? What happened to my Guru Maharaj? For a disciple, the Guru's life is very precious. What happened to him? He says, he's been sitting in Samadhi for a long time, and we just noticed that his breathing is actually declining, that he's slowing down his breathing. We are really worried that he might, go. So you please do something. You please find out what is going on. Now you have to see, it's the wives of the spiritual master approaching a disciple. I heard this story from Prabhu. He has some amazing, incredible nectar up his sleeve. So you have to really listen from him, hear from him. So, can you imagine that the wives of the spiritual master coming to the disciple to say, something is happening to your spiritual master, please come. Right? How long has he been in trance for? The wife said, 3 days. He has been in trance for 3 days. Not half an hour, not 2 hours. 3 days he has been in trance, and now his breathing is slowing down. Well, of course, he has not eaten or drunk anything, right, for 3 days. There's no food, no water, nothing, right? He's been in trance for 3 days. So, Ramachandra Kaviraj comes, offers his obeisance to his spiritual master, sits down, enters Samadhi, and goes to where his spiritual master is in his meditation. Okay? So, inside the meditation, so Srinivas Acharya is a manjari in the Leela of Shri Ratha-Krishna, and Ramachandra Kaviraj goes to exactly where his spiritual master is in the manjari form. Both of them are in manjari form now. Okay, and then he finds out that his spiritual master has been diving in a particular lake, looking for something. Okay, and he goes and asks, what is the matter? What are you looking for? He says, Radharani has lost her earring, and I have been entrusted the task of finding this earring and bringing it back to her. The spiritual master said. So that's what I've been trying to do. But I'm not finding it. I don't know where the earring is. Then I've been trying. I can't see where it is inside this lake. One small earring inside a big lake. Can you imagine? Right? So, Ramachandra Kaviraj in his manjari form dives into the lake, looks for it inside the water, and finds the earring. Now he has found the earring of Srimati Radharani, and he takes this earring and brings it back and hands it to his spiritual master. He does not say, I found it, Radharani, here it is. He says, here, my dear spiritual master, here, this is the earring, this is the task that you had entrusted me with. Please accept it. So, Now, Srinivasacharya in his Manjari form goes to Lalita Devi and Vishakha Devi and hands over the earring. Srimati Radharani is extremely pleased with this Manjari who has found the earring. So she gives him a particular betel leaf that she has been chewing, that she has received from Sri Krishna, to him, to Srinivasacharya. Srinivasacharya takes this betel leaf that has been chewed by Krishna, chewed by Srimati Radharani, takes this betel leaf and brings it and gives it to his disciple, found the earring in the first place. Right? So the disciple holds it, and then he said, and then they both come out of trance. Ramachandra Kaviraj is holding this betel leaf in his hand. Okay, when he comes out of meditation. Okay? And then the wives are eager, they're very happy that the Acharya has reappeared. You know, he's breathing and he's opened his eyes and he's coming back. Right? And then they ask, what happened? What happened? And then the whole story is recounted. You know, this happened, and then the wives start lamenting and saying, how come we don't have this kind of Krishna consciousness? Huh? So, Ramachandra Kaviraj, the disciple of Srinivasacharya, hands over the betel leaf to the wives. The wives share the betel leaf and they enter into the same kind of Krishna consciousness. So you can see you can speak about this pastime for days, right? But you can see the feelings and the beautiful etiquette that is followed by the disciple for the spiritual master, by the spiritual master for the disciple, and for the disciple for other souls. Right? So I think you have got the hint of it. Okay. So in general, if you want to receive mercy of Srila Prabhupada, right, you have to figure out what is it that Srila Prabhupada wants to be done most in the world. What does he want? Why did Srila Prabhupada come into this world? What is it that we are, so what is it that Srila Prabhupada wants done in this world? What is it that we can do for him? Right? Actually, we cannot do anything for him. Right? But what is it that he wants us to do in this world? What is it that he wants us to manifest in this world? Okay? So, if you are wondering, okay, you went into this esoteric pastime of Radha Krishna and these spiritual masters who are entering into Samadhi and coming out of Samadhi and coming out with things from the spiritual world, how does that relate to us? Struggling to chant Hare Krishna, live alone 3 days, I find it difficult to chant my 16 rounds with attention and care. And how does it apply to us? Okay, so it applies to us in this way that we can receive Krishna's mercy to the extent we have become so close to our spiritual master that we understand their heart. That they don't have to tell us what to do. They don't have to instruct us that you do this, you do this, you do this. Right? Because Srinivasacharya certainly did not come to Ramachandra Kaviraj and said, hey, come and help me find this earring that Radharani has lost. Right? The wives of his spiritual master came, brought him, and he sat down, entered into meditation, and was able to go where the Guru's heart is. Right? So, our Gurus may not necessarily externally manifest these kinds of pastimes because, it's a very great treasure, and a Guru will manifest only to the extent that the disciple can receive. If the disciple is still at the stage of struggling to follow the regulative principles, spiritual master will never say anything beyond follow the regulative principles. If the disciple is struggling to chant 16 rounds, the Guru will never say anything beyond chant your 16 rounds with care and attention. Right? When the disciple is ready, then the Guru begins to manifest some internal things that are not visible to anybody else or even to that same disciple when they were not ready. Okay? So in order for us to receive Krishna's mercy, we have to actually enter into the heart of the Guru in our consciousness. Okay? Even though we might not be doing esoteric things like going to Krishna's pastimes. Okay? So that's not necessary. So recently some classes we have already attended in previous Sunday feasts where devotees talked about the marathon month. Right? They talked about how we are going out there distributing Srila Prabhupada's books, how we are doing that. I don't know, was the story of marathon recounted? No? So the marathon started on this marathon, Srila Prabhupada's marathon. Does everybody know what it means? Some familiarity, something? Okay, in general. But it started in 22nd of December 1972. Okay, this is what happened. Okay, here's another story that happened. This is the story of the marathon. Okay, in Los Angeles, in ISKCON Los Angeles, we have a very beautiful temple called New Dwarka, and there are deities of Sri Rukmini Dwarkadish in this temple. And it was also Srila Prabhupada's Western headquarters. Okay. Bombay was his office in India, and Los Angeles was his office in the Western countries. So in when you're really thirsty, you can feel it. Otherwise, the shopkeepers during this pre-Christmas season had decided to keep their stores open basically all night, just so that they could encourage. What the shopkeepers want? They want you to come and spend their money with you. Right? That's what every shopkeeper wants. Come here, spend all your money, thank you very much, come again. Right? That's what shopkeepers want, isn't it? That's their business. And so that's what the shopkeepers had done. So the temple leaders decided that since all the shoppers are out, and this is in 1972, so there isn't credit cards and stuff like that too much. It's cash, right? It's cash. So the devotees said, let's go and distribute books to all these shoppers who are walking from shop to shop, store to store, spending their money. Maybe they can give some of their money to Krishna. And that's the devotee's business. Devotee is like, maybe you can give some of your money to Krishna. Okay, that's what the devotee is doing, right? So it's shopkeeper's business, devotee's business. Everybody is after customers. Right? So the devotees are out there, and the leaders have set a target that says anybody who distributes the most number of books will win a prize. Now the devotees are young, enthusiastic, they're all like, eagerly competing to win this prize. Okay? So one night, Rameshwar Prabhu came back to the ashram at midnight. On that day, he had distributed how many books? 600 books. Okay? 600 books he had distributed. He thought, I have definitely won the competition. I have done it. I have the gold crown now. Okay? He came into the ashram fully expecting to find all the other brahmacharis fast asleep, and he found out that there was no one in the temple. He was the first one to come back at midnight. Right? So he was like, whoa, devotees are still out? I'm not sure. So spontaneously, without anybody telling anybody, everybody had decided to stay out late to distribute as many books as possible. Right? So, from the 22nd, 23rd, 24th, these pre-Christmas days, right? And then 26th, the Boxing Day also, the devotees ended up distributing about 5,000 to 6,000 books every day from ISKCON Los Angeles. So Rameshwar Prabhu wrote a letter to Srila Prabhupada. Back then, no email, no fax. Okay, letter. He wrote a letter to wherever Srila Prabhupada was. Prabhupada wrote back and said, for this effort alone, all the book distributors will go back home, back to Godhead. Srila Prabhupada had given them the blessing of sending them back to Godhead. This was amazing, right? This was crazy. Like going back home, when devotees passed away, Srila Prabhupada said, oh, maybe he went to the heavenly planets. Right? Going back to home, back to Godhead is not such an easy thing that every devotee, has gone back home, back to Godhead. It's a very rare thing, at least as far as Srila Prabhupada is concerned. So he said, for this effort alone, they will go back home, back to Godhead. And then correspondence continued, and everybody realized just how much Srila Prabhupada is willing to do for the devotees who are distributing his books. So then devotees really all over the world got into book distribution. Yeah, Srila Prabhupada is sending people back home, back to Godhead for trying to distribute books. For this effort alone, right? Srila Prabhupada did not say because only the top book distributor went back home, back to Godhead. Every single person who went out went back home, back to Godhead. And that is actually Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission also, which we will talk about in a moment. But then devotees began to really distribute books like crazy. Millions and millions of books were distributed all over the world. And then the Srila Prabhupada marathon just spread to the whole month. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada marathon spread out throughout the whole month, and devotees everywhere got into it. They got very creative, we invented Shastradan, like the devotees invented Shastradan. Like, there are a lot of devotees, a lot of people who, you talk about an umbrella, right? And then you approach someone with a Bhagavad Gita and they're like, no, thank you very much. No thanks, I'm fine. Right? And we hear that a lot. No thanks, I'm fine. No thanks, another time. Right? So imagine taking that person who is saying no thanks to Bhagavad Gita, somehow or the other convincing them to take a Bhagavad Gita, and then say, it was one thing to get them to touch the Bhagavad Gita, another thing to get them to accept the Bhagavad Gita and agree to take it with them, and whole thing to get them to open their wallet and give you some. Because books cost money, right? Every book costs money. We have to, we have to keep it sustainable. Everything costs money. Imagine they're like, no, take your book back, right? I don't want this. And then what is the devotee? He spent all his lifeblood in trying to convince that person that you need to read this Bhagavad Gita. So anyways, Shastradhar was invented to help people like these people, who don't yet understand the value of the Bhagavad Gita, that they are not going to give any money for it. So somebody else has paid for it so that the temple is not going under, right? So many innovations have happened over the years. So we talked about that, but all of this is well and good. When the book distributor asked Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, what pleases you the most? Now, this person had already heard how much Srila Prabhupada loves book distribution, right? So, what do you think that person is looking for? What kind of answer they are looking for? Srila Prabhupada, what pleases you the most? What answer is the devotee looking for? Yes. But you know what Srila Prabhupada could detect that, what this person is asking. He says, what pleases me the most is if you love Krishna. He answered, right? So, in other words, Srila Prabhupada doesn't just want us to go out there selling his books. He's not a businessman, right? He actually wants all of us to become Krishna conscious. And distributing books is a really solid way of becoming Krishna conscious, right? Because when you're trying to convince somebody else, at minimum you're going to get convinced yourself, right? Isn't that happening? You're trying to get that person to take it. And then you're like, what is in this book? Let me read it. Right? At least they didn't take it. You are standing with the book most of the time, right? Like most of the time when you're out on book distribution, you're standing with the book, nobody's stopping. Let me read. So the number one thing that we are meant to do, whether it's marathon month or not marathon month, is distribute those books to ourselves. Right? This is the number one thing. Srila Prabhupada said, I didn't write these books just so that all of you can go around selling these books everywhere. I wrote these books so that you can read them. First and foremost, like you means all of us can read these books. So in order to start closing your umbrella, right, you have to read Srila Prabhupada's books. Because otherwise we don't understand why should we chant Hare Krishna? Why should we follow the 4 regulative principles? Right? Why should we distribute Srila Prabhupada's books anyways? Right? Why should I give to ISKCON Scarborough instead of giving to Mount Sinai? Right? Right? Why should I do that, for example? Right? Why? What difference does it make, ISKCON Scarborough has how many? Like 50 people here totally? Mount Sinai has 5,000 people this year. We are treating them for this and that and the other things, right? So, if you don't read Srila Prabhupada's books, you won't understand why the Krishna Consciousness movement actually matters. It becomes like a social club, You come there, say hello, meet your buddies, you meet your friends, have a little plate of food together, chit chat, and then go back home, right? If you don't read Srila Prabhupada's books, that's what happens to us. It's called degenerates into becoming a social organization. So you come here like an equivalent of a club, where they come in there, chit chat a little bit, and then go home. Right? Okay. Krishna actually says that. This is not Srila Prabhupada saying this himself, right? He says, Bhaktya mama vijanati yavan yashcha tato mam tatvato jnatva vijate tadanantaram. Goes back to Godhead. Right? Krishna says, Janma karma cha me divyam evam yoveti tatvatah tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mahameti sojana. Krishna says this, right? He says that, right? He says, so many different things in the Bhagavad Gita. He talks about how a spiritual a devotee, right? Brahmabhuta prasannatmana shochatina kamshati samas sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhaktim lavate param. Like when a person is on the Brahman platform, then they attain to my bhakti. Right? So Krishna says so many things. There are many ways to approach Krishna. There isn't one way. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, Narad Muni has said that he has described the different ways of how different personalities have approached Krishna. He says, Gopya Kamat Bhayat Kamso Dveshat Chaityadayo Nripah Sambandhat Vishnaya Sneha Yuyam Bhaktavayam Vibho. He said, Narad Muni is saying to Yudhishthir Maharaj in this particular verse that the gopis approached Krishna like young girls approach young boys. You know, this happens. It's natural, right? It comes from Krishna, it comes from the spiritual world originally. But it's not like that. Still, even if you take it that it is like that, still the gopis approached Krishna like that. Bhayat Kamso. You know, Kamsa presently has a four-handed Vishnu form in the Vaikuntha Loka. That's because he had approached Krishna out of fear. When he heard the prophecy that the eighth son of Devaki will kill you, you fool, you know, he heard this prophecy. From that day onwards, he was constantly meditating on Krishna. Like, who is this fellow who is going to kill me? Right? He was constantly meditating on Krishna. You know, constantly. And out of that fear, he attained Krishna. Because who did Kamsa see when he met his death? Krishna was sitting on his chest, punching him. Right? So the last, what is the last thing that Kamsa is seeing as he's getting punched wherever? Right? He sees Krishna. So Kamsa got Krishna and he got Sarupya Mukti thanks to his fear. Gopya Kamat Bhayat Kamso. And then Shishupal. What was Shishupal doing all his life? Dvesha. He was like completely inimical to Krishna. He was constantly hating Krishna so much and constantly criticizing. You know, this happens to us on Sankirtan also. Oh, these Hare Krishnas. Right? But he also got Krishna. Right? He got Mukti directly from Krishna himself. Right? Shishupal and all of his friends, right? The different kings who were inimical towards Krishna also got Krishna. Now, Madhvacharya, our great Acharya, says not to approach Krishna out of enmity. It's actually very hard to do that. It's extremely difficult. You know, Kamsa had to take enough births to actually get the strength of 10,000 elephants and become such a tyrant and all that. It takes a lot of effort. Right? It's a lot of work to get that kind of demonic tendency. It's very difficult. Bhavnavacharya says, follow the easy path, just become a devotee of Krishna. That's what he says, and we follow in that. It's actually quite easy, you know. It might take you many lifetimes to become an enemy of Krishna, but one lifetime may be sufficient to actually become a devotee. Right? So, Veshat Chaitya Nipa, Sambandhat Vishnu, all the Vishnus, all the Yadukul, you know, all of them. Krishna is my nephew, Krishna is my uncle, Krishna is my father, Krishna is my, you know, son. This is the kind of relationship that they have with Krishna. Right? Sambandhat Vishnu, Sneha Tuyam. All the Pandavas have Sneha, brotherly love towards Krishna. Bhima and Arjuna, Krishna accepts them as his elder brothers. Nakula and Sahadev, Krishna accepts as his younger brothers. Arjuna, he accepts as his Sakha, as his closest dear friend. But all of them have deep love for Krishna, not just Arjuna, but every single Pandava has deep love. As you can see from the Bhagavatam, if you read Sahadev, how much he knew more than all the sages in the whole assembly. He knew more than every single personality was present there, right? So he got all of that just by approaching Krishna. So when we read Srila Prabhupada's books, when we distribute Srila Prabhupada's books, when we follow Srila Prabhupada's instructions to chant Hare Krishna, actually what happens is that we get the qualification to see Krishna face to face in this very lifetime. Krishna is visible in many different ways, and there are many esoteric ways in which Krishna appears to all of us. Okay, I did it. How do you do that? Okay, I fidgeted with too much. So we are not just devotees of Krishna, we are actually in the mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given us a special instruction, all of us. What is that instruction that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given all of us? He has said, Jare Dako, Tare Kaho, Krishna Upadesh, Amara Adhyay hai, Guru Haya, Dhara Aidesh. So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying this to us. He's on the altar, right? He's saying this to us. All of you in Scarborough, I want you to deliver Scarborough from the clutches of birth and death. That's a tall order, right? It can be done though, just because we are following Srila Prabhupada's instruction. Okay? So, I have a lot more material here, but we don't have too much time. I want to just summarize what we said. We sang 2 songs. We sang the first verse of the Gurvashtakam, where we talked about how Srila Prabhupada, or the Guru in general, is bringing Krishna's mercy to extinguish the blazing fire of material existence. And we talked about that. We talked about, we sang another song. After we looked at the translation of that, we sang another song. It's the last verse of the Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu song that we sing. So Parshad. So we sang that one, and we explored. We heard the pastime of Srinivas Acharya Ramachandra Kaviraj, why he was so dear to Narottam Das Thakur. Narottam Das Thakur wants the association of someone who is so dear to his spiritual master. Right? So we want to be very dear to our spiritual master by knowing the heart of our spiritual master, by actually doing what the spiritual master desires to be done in the material world, right? Or in the spiritual world for that matter, right? As we saw from the past time. We explored how there are many different ways of approaching Krishna, but the easiest way for us is to read Srila Prabhupada's books and follow them, carefully follow them, right? Because Srila Prabhupada's books actually contain everything that we need to see Krishna face to face, okay? So if we follow the instructions of the spiritual master and just stick to this process, chanting Hare Krishna, telling everybody about it, there is absolutely no doubt that we will receive all the mercy that Krishna has intended for us, right? And beyond, more than we can imagine. Like Tadamakana Maharaj says that, if Krishna is giving you mercy, he has 10 hands. In many pastimes he has many different numbers of hands. So he has so many hands. How much can you accept with your own little 2 hands, right? Somebody is giving you with 10 hands, 12 hands, 16 hands, right? They're giving you, just giving you. How much can you take, right? So our goal actually is to give whatever we are getting from Krishna by pursuing the Krishna Consciousness movement. In the Krishna Consciousness movement, we don't have to worry about ourselves, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has personally taken, in the crime land of Bombay, where I come from, right? They have a particular lingo. If someone wants someone killed, then they give a contract, right? And a person who is accepting the contract basically picks up the contract by lifting up what is known as a supari. Okay? So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has taken the supari to get us out of here. Right? You don't have to worry about ourselves. We don't actually have to worry about ourselves at all. We don't have to worry about what's going to happen to me. We just have to worry about others, because that's what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is worried about. That's what Srila Prabhupada is worried about. He's worried about everybody else. So going out and distributing Srila Prabhupada's books is not just a nice thing to do. It is absolutely imperative for us to assist our spiritual master in this way. Even though Srila Prabhupada is my grand spiritual master, he's the spiritual master of my spiritual master, he's still my spiritual master. Right? He's the spiritual master of everybody in ISKCON. Right? And he will be so as long as ISKCON exists. Right? So that's what we have done the recap, to follow the orders of the spiritual master, to deliver the whole world. It's our responsibility to deliver the whole world, if you can imagine that. Okay? So we have some few minutes for questions, comments, reflections, or corrections. So we can take those. So Prabhu has a microphone here. So we can do that.
I can take a question too, even others think of it. So you mentioned about giving this mercy to others also.
Yes.
what would you say for if I'm hesitating to go out and distribute books? How do we overcome that hesitation? What is that hesitation?
There's no need to actually distribute books. Just show up there. If somebody is leading, actually, this is there in many different scriptures, and our Acharya has given to us. Most recently, Vaisheshika Prabhu, who is a Sankirtan Acharya, has given this to us. He says that you don't have to do anything. You just have to go and touch the pavement with your foot, with your shoe. Actually, not even your foot. Don't have to take off your shoes either. Right? Just go there and touch the pavement. And be there, that's all. That's it. There are so many souls who are out there doing so many things, apparently not doing anything. Right? They think that, oh, what am I going to do there? But there are actually millions of things to do that don't involve actually going out there and distributing books. Right? And the reason, another thing that I'll say is that if you actually go out there and just touch the pavement, then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will empower you to do things that you never thought yourself possible. Just like Hanuman, Hanuman did not think that he was capable of jumping over the ocean to Lanka. Hanuman did not think himself capable. And he thought, I'm just an ordinary monkey, what can I do, And that's what he thought. So it's a fact. We are just ordinary monkeys, right? Still struggling to come to the human platform, right? But once we go there, then something happens. Once you go there in the Sankirtan Bhumi, in the Ran Bhumi, in the Sankirtan, something happens. And you're like, how did I do that? How did I convince that person? I'm not even convinced yet. Right? So, because I tell you, it's no secret, but the order of the spiritual master has within it the potency to fulfill itself. And we have heard this before, right? So, is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu our spiritual master?
Yes.
Yes, he is, right? He's our spiritual master, many times removed, but he's still our spiritual master. So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has actually given the order. So, if we try to follow this order, then magical things happen out there. Okay, so these things are not something that you really have to worry or get too much concerned about. Just go out there and it works. Is there anything else? We are done. We need to blow the conch. Mother is waiting. Shri Radha Gopi Vallabha ki Jai. Shri Gauritai ki Jai. Shri Lakshmi Narasimha Bhagwan ki Shri Gopal ki Jai. Anantamurti Vaishnava ki Jai. Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Shri Hari Ram Mahamantra ki Jai. Thank you very much.
की और महाराज की और कृष्ण संपूर्ण